When I was 15 years old, I watched a guy eat a roach on a music video, and it changed my entire life. 11 years later, that guy is releasing a new album called CHROMAKOPIA.
CHROMAKOPIA.
And I couldn't be more excited to take a look back at the illustrious career of
Tyler.
Who are you?
Tyler, the creator, also known as Thick Dick Daddy 27.
Hi, my name is Zaydante, and today I am not coming to you as anything other than a fan. I know it seems like I'm always doing that, considering that the only thing that I make content about is music, but this one is really, really important to me. I've been listening to Tyler, the Creator, for 11 years now. He is a large part of my life, has been a large part of my life since I was 15 years old. Before this new album comes out, I really wanted to have a chance to be able to deep dive into what makes him such a special artist, not only to me, but to so many people now, and that is so beautiful. I am going to attempt to not cry at all, but I'm probably gonna cry. So everyone be cool with that. I'm 26 now, so I've aged out of the time where I feel like I need to imitate him, and trust me, there was a lot of imitating that was happening in the early years of liking Tyler. I hate when people have the license plate cover that says, "Do you follow Jesus this close?" Bitch, is Jesus going 30 and a 45? And if he fucking was, I'd be all up in his ass too, and not in the sexy way. But ultimately now, I just have the utmost respect for him. The way that he's passionate about his art, whether that is music or fashion or cars or whatever. And I thought if you haven't had a chance to hop on the Tyler, the Creator hype train, first of all, you're getting super left behind, but also maybe it would help to just know where this guy came from. Tyler, the Creator's been making music since 2007. He originally came on the scene when he co-founded Odd Future, a hip-hop collective based out of Los Angeles. First of all, it felt like everybody was in that motherfucker. They had a crazy fucking long name, and they had like 50 different people in there. Every single time anyone hit the stage, 50 niggas would like show up right behind them. And their full name was OFWGKTA, which was Odd Future Wolfgang Kill Them All. Then there was a longer version that was Odd Future Wolfgang Kill Them All, Don't Give a Fuck, Litter Life, Bacon Boys, Loiter Squad, it was like, it was some bullshit. I used to know it all from beginning to end along with the acronym, but I've smoked so much weed since then, there's simply no way. And what's funny is Tyler, the Creator now is known so much as a guy who is so passionate about music and this is everything to him or whatever, but Odd Future was really known as the guys who didn't give a fuck. And that made sense because majority of them were teenagers and all of them were really fucking good at making music. And if not music, they had other interests. Travis Bennett is a regular on the show Dave. Emmy Award nominee Lionel Boyce from The Bear was also a member of OF. But I really wasn't around in these early days. I'm from South Carolina and I grew up in a very religious household. So when I was a kid, I was not really allowed to watch a lot of things that would be considered inappropriate. And Tyler, the Creator, was the epitome of that. He was cursing, he was making sex jokes, he was loud and proud about his dislike of religion. I mean, everything about him was the antithesis of me at the time. But through those years, OF released the Odd Future mixtapes, and Tyler released his debut mixtape, Bastard. I don't have as much to say about Bastard, because like I said, I wasn't there, but here's a video where I reference this content.
I'll rip your arm off and feed it to you. No one ever loved me. I'll burn down a whole apartment complex. Matter of fact, give me a roach right now. I'll eat its head off on camera. I don't give a fuck about this shit. I swear to God.
2 years later, he released his debut studio album, Goblin. What do I have to say about Yonkers and Goblin? Truthfully, not a lot, because they scared me. I was frightened. I really did not want to listen to them, but enough of my friends did that I was occasionally listening to like some snippets of songs, and I could hear obviously the musical talent was there. I really encourage anyone who cares to go back and listen to his earlier stuff just to see how his production has gone from what it was to what it is now. Because even then, even when he was 17 to 19 years old, you could really tell that this kid knew what he was doing. But in truth, he was scaring the hoes. That shit was terrifying, bro. Like, the lyrics that he had were crazy. And at the time, it was just a bit too much for me, so I really wasn't listening. That changed in 2013 when he released his album, Wolf. I was on a weird, like, only listening to lyrical rap, whatever that meant at the time. But my friends convinced me to listen to Wolf off of the basis of this guy who did not care about anything and did not care about what people thought of him was making some of the best music out to date. So I took myself on YouTube. I looked up the Yonkers music video. This nigga was taking bites out of a roach's head with the Antichrist symbol drawn on his forehead and then hanging himself at the end of the video. I'm scared. But underneath all of the fear, I was intrigued. I was inspired. This kid was 19. not much older than I was. He was in Los Angeles, which at the time felt like a magical place where the movies are made and the stars live. He runs this music collective that is incredibly successful. He's throwing this festival that's also a fair, and I love fairs. And the bottom line, his music is really good. I was sneaking around the house with an incredibly religious mother being like, I'm a fucking walking paradox, Noah. So I listened to Wolf. Wolf was a good meeting in the middle for me. It included all of the things that I really loved about Tyler, but also he was starting to realize, I think, that people weren't taking him seriously because a lot of the shit that he was saying was so crazy, and he wanted to be taken seriously as an artist. This album was incredibly personal. It touched on themes of losing his grandmother, not having his father in his life, which was really pertinent to me at the time, and just in general, anger. And underneath all of that was the themes of wanting to just be in love with somebody, which I related to. The song I Fucking Hate You is told through a character's perspective of loving somebody so much and thinking that you're so fucked up that you can't love anyone right, and they're so perfect but they're so wrong for you. It's just all of these like very, very youthful themes of just trying to figure all of that out. And I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I took so much from the Wolf album, including why I don't really have a lot of parasocial relationships with a lot of people, because he has this song called Colossus where he talks about how he hated that shit. And I was like, oh, I guess if celebrities don't like when people do that, then I just won't. But just in general, it felt like he had tapped into something special for me. But even at that time, he still wasn't my favorite in the group. I was a really huge Earl Sweatshirt fan at the time, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked all of them. But at the time, I was really more into the lyrical rap. Earl Sweatshirt was more of that, while Tyler was more on the production and storytelling side. And while their group was becoming more and more popular, they claimed to speak for the outcast, of which I felt like I really was at the time. So Odd Future made me feel seen. It made me feel comfortable. Wolf made me feel like I was valid at my feelings of just anger and hurt and confusion. And it was just the beginning of getting into Tyler for me. But for Tyler, it was kind of the end of an era. Because his next album, he completely changed his sound. He completely changed his lyrical content. And he brought us something really special. In 2015, he released his album, Cherry Bomb. When Cherry Bomb dropped, I was 16, 17 years old, still in high school. And truthfully, I was confused. I really wanted more of his earlier stuff. I really wanted the anger. I wanted the emotion, the hurt, you know? And while Cherry Bomb did have phases of that, it was more so about musical experimentation. It was about him going into a new sound. One of the standout songs from this album for me, one of my favorite songs of all time to this day, is Two Seater. It was so cool. It was so jazzy R&B. You could play it in the car and you felt like you were in a movie. It was amazing. Also, I was still in high school. I was still such a lovesick kid, and it felt like something that I like wanted to sing to my crush. Girl, I got a two-seater. Yeah, I do. Like, please love me. The coolest thing about Cherry Bomb is that it kind of flopped. People, for the most part, really weren't into it, at least from what I remember. It was also the foundation for the sound that has made him so popular today. I encourage everybody to go back and listen to Cherry Bomb, or at least the instrumentals from Find Your Wings, Two Seater. All of them were really, really good, and he has them all on streaming. You wanna know how Tyler got this extremely cool sound that it seems like only he can do? He figured it out on Cherry Bomb. And 2 years later, he put everything he learned into motion with Flower Boy. Flower Boy came out my sophomore year of college, and he had fully leaned into the R&B, soulful pop music that he really wanted to make his entire career. At this point, I had been a fan of Tyler for so long that it really wasn't even about the music. It was incredible just to watch people flock to him. For so long, I had felt like this guy is a star. Why don't people understand how much of a star he is? And then I remember seeing this video of him hearing See You Again on the radio for the first time. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I said, through the craziness of his earlier works, he kept the passion. And on Flower Boy, there was no gimmicks. There was no jokes. You couldn't say his shit was a bunch of horrorcore. It was authentically Tyler. And the world listened. Beautiful. That was beautiful to me. At that point, I had been a fan of him for 4 years, and that was when I kind of knew that I would be a fan of him probably for the rest of my life. For the first time ever, it felt like the world was finally seeing what I was seeing about this guy. Side note, this album also contributed to my love for bees, and I don't want to waste too much time on it, but one day I was smoking weed and this bee came up to me and I offered the bee some weed, and it came up and it pet me on the leg. It literally pet me, like it like grazed the side of my leg, and then it went back to the hive, and I assume it told the rest of the bees that I was really, really cool, because since then, all of the bees fuck with me. Just saying. I am like the Lorax except for bees, but just to let y'all know, that's where that started.
Look at this bee, my bestie Maria got me. Yeah, man, I fuck with the bees.
So Tyler became beloved. He became respected. It was every single thing that I ever wanted. I didn't think that it could get much better. And then this motherfucker. My favorite album of all time, bitch. Igor. There is no touching that album for me. Ever. And another funny story, I didn't really like it when it first came out. I was like, man, he's not rapping. He's singing about all this. I don't want to hear this. And then my mom went on a date with this guy, and she hadn't been on a lot of dates, so she wanted me to come with her to make sure she was safe. They went to this outdoor bar, so I sat across the street at the nearby bar just to make sure that he didn't, like, kidnap her. And since I had so much time to kill, I was like,
let me give Igor one more try.
Igor came out in 2019. I was 21 at the time. I wasn't a kid anymore. I wasn't as angry as I used to be. I'd fallen in love. It didn't work out. All of that earlier, I Have a Crush music didn't hit in the same way that it did. And on my first listen to Igor, I wanted something from Tyler that wasn't there anymore. On my second listen to Igor, I realized the kid that loved all that stuff wasn't there anymore either. And he had been replaced with someone who was a bit more mature. And I listened to Igor from start to finish. And by the end of it, everything had changed for me. My taste in music had changed. I had heard things that I didn't even know that I liked on this album. Things that I did not know that I could feel, I felt on this album. I was also young, and I was bisexual, and I really did not know what to really do with that. And this was really the first album that really made me feel seen in that way. This album means everything to me. It changed everything for me. It changed my entire life. I changed who I listened to. I listened to Solange for the first time out of this album. Playboi Carti. I really wasn't into Playboi Carti before this album. And there's something about this album that is so special to me. All songs written, produced, and arranged by Tyler Okama. This guy cared. This guy cared about his art in a way that I hadn't really seen before. I had watched him grow from this kid that nobody took seriously to a Grammy-winning artist. To a Grammy-winning artist, man. And nobody could say shit about this dude after this album. And that was so beautiful to me. I got to talk to people about Tyler, the Creator, who I really never expected to talk about Tyler, the Creator. I was like, these people will never listen to Tyler, but he had made something that resonated with everyone in a way that I just would never expect, man. This album means so much to me. This is my guy, bro. This is my guy. I swear to God. Oh, God. I knew I wouldn't be able to do this without crying. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. I wanted to dye my hair for the first time. Like, shit was going crazy. I was like, listen, like, with the way that I grew up, like, I was not... Shit changed everything for me. It is a perfect album. There are no wrongs. There are no flaws. From beginning to end, it's perfect. And... it changed my life. I'm so grateful for that album. And I thought to myself, if there's a guy who is producing and arranging and writing all of his music on his own because he can and he learned how and he struggled and he made mistakes and he figured it out and now it's working. I thought if that guy could do that, I can do it too. I wanted to feel that passionate about something. I started to really take my acting seriously. I was in school for theater performance at the time. I wanted to be as good at what I was doing as he was to music. And that mindset is the reason I'm even here today. A year after this album was released, COVID happened. I started posting on TikTok. It became my job. And I was really struggling. I was going through so much at that time. I mean, everybody was, but just in my own personal life. And that album got me through it. That album got me through it. And then just as things started to really take off for me, Call Me If You Get Lost, baby. Call Me If You Get Lost released in 2021, and it was an album about travel. It was an album about finding peace in your life, but it was also still about heartbreak because it's Tyler. But it was also about success because it's Tyler. And that was the first time in my life I really felt like I was able to relate to him. I felt like I was succeeding for the first time in my life, and this was the soundtrack. I was traveling for the first time, leaving South Carolina, and this guy is in my ear saying his passport is the most valuable thing to him. All of this shit means something to me, man. I remember the first time I listened to Wilshire, which is this 7-minute song of him just talking into a mic it's really not edited. You can hear the like popping sounds from the P's, and he's just telling this story about how he loved this girl, and this girl was his best friend's girl, so it was a weird situation, and then he lost out and he got heartbroken. And I felt like if I could put myself on the forefront in the way that he puts himself in the forefront in his music, that I could I don't know, unlocked this sort of vulnerability that I really hadn't been able to unlock before. This was also the first time that I had the money to be able to go to concerts. I saw him at Lollapalooza.
Man, this edible ain't shit. How did I get here?
I saw him at the Staples Center.
Bro, look at this asshole, man. This shit is unbelievable. Driving his boat through a crowded area. This has to be illegal, man. Eat the rich.
I saw him at Camp Flog Gnaw. For 2 years straight, I watched this guy perform this album, and each time he got better and better. He's special. He is special. And when he talks, people listen. I am one of those people. And now he has this new era, CHROMAKOPIA. It looks incredible. It already sounds incredible. I can already tell it's going to be something special. I cannot wait to see how this album fits into my life right now. And I really feel like I need it. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. So, bravo, Tyler. Bravo. You have a career that has inspired so many. I'm just grateful to you. Thanks. Thanks for doing what you do. Thanks for caring. We need more people who care. Truly. So get hyped for CHROMAKOPIA. Because if there's one thing that this dude does, it's deliver. Thanks so much for watching.
Yo, I'm excited as now, yo.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everybody who has been watching my YouTube shorts, bruh. I never thought that I'd be able to do this on here. So this is pretty magical. Thank you so much to Cassius Pettit. He's the producer for this. I mean, this channel, like, does not happen without him. He is this channel. Like, I'm gonna try to get him on camera one day, but I don't know if he's gonna do it. These look like YouTube videos because of him. I'm currently raising money for a family. The link is in my bio. Please give anything that you can. I've spoken to these people, and they are just the sweetest people in the world, and we were able to help them a little bit before with my TikTok videos, so I'm really hoping that we're able to help them now with this YouTube. So please give anything that you can. And finally, if you'd like to see me perform live, I am hosting a musical improv show with my friend Abby Govindan in New York City at Caveat, November 12th at 9:30 p.m.
Yo, I think I just found the biggest clown in the fucking world. Right here.
See y'all at CHROMAKOPIA.